Welcome to Flipping Houses for Rookies, the only podcast that shows you how to take back your financial freedom and live the American dream by becoming a real estate investor. Without the banks, without the big wigs, and without the realtor's nonsense. This isn't about selling you coaching or some get-rich-quick scheme. It's about opening your eyes to the possibilities so you can make real chunks of dough, buy your life back, and become a free American. With over 400 episodes aired, we're delivering everything you need to know to find deals, talk to sellers, structure deals, and win big. It's time to take action, change your mindset, and claim what's yours. Real estate is the key to your freedom, and we're here to show you the way. Subscribe now and catch our latest episodes on YouTube at Flipping Houses for Rookies, because your financial freedom starts today. Now, here are your hosts, Bill and Pete.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Hey, Peter, how you be?
Hey, Bill, I be alive. I be here. How is everybody else being?
I think we're
Morning,
all doing
folks.
good.
Or otherwise,
All right,
you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
If you're here, you're all right. Yeah,
Exactly.
Good start.
Let me see here. Okay, I got a bunch of notes over here because we're like trying to stream on X, and it says I need to have a professional account. I have no idea what that means. All right, so
It means money.
yeah, exactly. All right, enough of that nonsense. We are about to record podcast number 471, and if you are here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's podcast episode name or title is Creative Real Estate Leads to Deals to Cash, Secret and Proven Blueprint. Here's the description. Listen carefully. Today, we are going to cover how to turn the 97% of sellers who want all cash into deals while everyone around you keeps starving for deals. Truth be told, while rookie investors waste time complaining about no leads and sellers who won't do creative deals, in a tiny elite that I have trained have been quietly exploiting a proven seller called Blueprint that is a mindset, not a script, but works with any and all scripts once known. And it is actually a systematic method for taking the most hostile, investor-hating sellers and transform them into the most cooperative partner. Once you listen today and hear the psychological tells behind seller reactions that 99% of all real estate investors don't know, you are now armed with the most effective and weaponized psychological tools that have hit this industry in over 100 years. What you're about to hear is not positive thinking or motivational fluff. It is the distillation of thousands of seller conversations broken down into a repeatable system that virtually guarantees success. Oh, that's a lot of promises, huh?
It sounds good. You may now carry on and explain yourself.
All right, so before we get started, I want to just do, we don't do commercials. There's no paid commercials, nothing like that. This is completely funded by myself and your volunteer time. It takes us between 5 and 6 hours a week to put this podcast together. So this is the only thing that I ask of you, is that you subscribe to us wherever you're watching or listening to us. You like us, you leave us a comment wherever you're watching us or listening to us so others could come along too. And then head on over to Amazon.com, of course. Type in William Hawthorne without an E, Hawthorn, and grab my book, Leads, Deals, Cash, Creative Real Estate Operators Manual. The complete blueprint on how you can go from never having done a deal all the way up to running a complete business where it makes multiple deals a month is there. It's simply stated but not easy to do, which is why the book is there, because it's a step-by-step guide. It's actually the blueprint, the only blueprint that I know of that covers all creative real estate strategies. A lot of people say that they do creative real estate and they just do subject to, or they'll do seller financing, or they'll do just one aspect or two aspects of the business and not cover all aspects of the business. Lease options and wholesaling and all that kind of stuff, right? Creatively. So the book is there. Go check it out, and you'll be happy that you bought it, because the ones that have given me great personal reviews. So matter of fact, it's gotten to a point now where I have a couple students that when I'm on my coaching calls or speaking publicly, I won't be trying to sell the book, and they'll be like, "Billy, you got to tell them about your book." And I got to go do that. So that's happened to me a couple times. So go grab it. It's a great book. It's a great read. And I have a couple more in the pipeline that will be out pretty soon that I'm working on. One of which is the last couple podcasts I've been writing about, which is, I don't have my book in front of me. Hang on, let me grab it. The last 3 or 4 podcasts, podcast 468, 469, 470, and now 471, are all content that you will find much more detail in my new book. So here we go, Peter. Mm-hmm. You ready?
Ready to go.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but I get asked very often, what do I think the market is doing? Or what do I think the market is going to do? Right?
Yeah, I ask you. Sure. Sure.
So when the truth for me is this is a flaming tell, and just so we get this straight, because I said it in my point, a tell is a poker term, like a facial expression or some body reaction that indicates to the other players on the type of hand a person has, whether it be good or bad, right? So a tell is a physical manifestation or some obvious manifestation that if you look carefully and you're aware of the environment, you'll see it blatantly. But the point is that something's going on behind the social veneer of a person, and you're picking up on it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Well, sure. Well, people are trying to keep things to themselves sometimes, what they're really thinking, so they don't, show you their hand. Hopefully it's an advantage to them to keep you kind of in the dark. And you're trying to figure, what are they really doing? What are they thinking? What do they really want? So we're trying to see through that facade.
Right. So realize that every human being has 2 personalities. One is what we call acute, which is short-lived, not very long. And the other is a chronic personality. More simply put, it is your social personality and then your real personality.
Yeah.
Right? How many times you have watched a partner or a friend act a different way in a crowd of people, and then when you're with them alone, they act completely different. So that's what we're talking about, that social personality. You have to penetrate that. So anyways, so let me just go back to this. So when the truth for me is that a flaming tell for me that I have a rookie looking for a security blanket or a quick buck. When they're asking me about the market, that's what I hear. I'm looking for somebody. It's usually somebody that's not doing well. It's usually somebody that's not making money. They're questioning their own abilities. They're trying to figure out what they've come to the conclusion that maybe they're doing something wrong, and they're trying to figure it out. They're testing. They're testing, is it the market or is it me? So when I hear somebody say to me, "What's the market doing?" or "What do you think is going to happen in the future?" It's really a security blanket. See, while amateur investors are obsessing over interest rates and housing prices mixed in with economic forecasts, all this inflation and all that stuff, the lead investors are doing completely different things. So, Peter, I want to say something to you personally, because you lived through it with me very closely. I didn't realize this until just recently, but I lived through the crash of 2008. It cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars that I had to work my way through because I was buying subject to deals without any equity. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, houses that I thought I had $10,000 worth of equity went upside down $20,000.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sell them, or I lost money selling them.
Yeah.
I had other properties that I made home run scores on. I had to sell those, which I didn't want to sell. I had to sell those to make up for the properties that I was losing money on, so I could balance the portfolio out.
Sure.
And in the end, I had $200,000 or $300,000 worth of debt that took me 5 years to work my way out of. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was catastrophic, but it taught me so much. Well,
sure.
I hate to say this, but March of 2020 was worse than that catastrophic 2008. And you and I, for 2 years, almost 3 years, and we're now coming out of it, and everybody else in the country went through the same catastrophic problem. In other words, what happened was it was actually opposite, but the same problem, right?
Uh-huh.
So you have starvation and you have gluttonous, right? They're both problems, right?
It's too much either direction.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's what happened to us, and I didn't even recognize it until just recently after it's been way gone. We had this 2008 crash in 2020 with COVID. Actually, it was in 21. It was more 21. Well, we had the gluttonous part of it, and we couldn't buy houses because the appreciation and the prices were going up so much that we couldn't buy houses. So we were kind of starving a bit there, trying to figure things out because the whole market had flipped itself on the head, flipped over.
Yeah.
Now, that's the same thing that happened in 2008, but it happened in 2021 with the COVID thing, the opposite way, and we didn't even know that. I didn't know that. Right? And we came out with some amazing things from that. I mean, I have some portfolios that I ended up selling, probably 2/3 of my portfolio, and I ended up buying down my mortgages, so 50 or 60% of my portfolio is free and clear. Right? So I make almost as much money by selling off and not all the headaches.
Yeah.
Right? So the point that I'm making here is that one of the things that we came up with was a Grand Slam offer to show people how to swell their greed glands and actually buy property, right? So markets are funny, We went through a catastrophic market in 2020 and 21, right? So we lived through the obsessive interest. Interest was low, but inflation was really high. Which, by the way, the definition of inflation in my mind is too much money, not enough products, right?
Yeah.
One house and 20 buyers, right?
It makes the seller a little bit greedy.
Right. So the only way you could break production, the only way you could break inflation is with production, make more houses or put more houses on the market, right? And there was all this stuff talking about how there was no inventory, all that kind of stuff, when really the truth of the matter is COVID broke the realtor system. They no longer had the hold on the seller that they were the only place to go. They were the only team in town. We used to talk about the real estate monopoly, right? I haven't talked about that in a while because it's changed. Because with COVID and nobody being able to get into the houses, right?
Yeah.
It went from a realtor showing the house to the seller actually showing their own house, and people like you and I coming along and saying, "We'll buy it. We don't need a realtor."
Yeah.
And it broke the realtor system.
I was talking to somebody yesterday. Now this is a couple of years later, but it takes a while for people to catch on. The person was saying, "I had it on the market, but I got calls from all these other people. Why should I put it on the market with a realtor? I got people calling me out of the blue. What do I need them for?"
Right.
That was yesterday.
So that's what my point is the industry has changed considerably. So this is the reason why I've stepped up my game and I'm helping people with conversations and real. Now listen, the truth of the matter is a realtor goes to realtor school, which I have done in Connecticut. And Connecticut is a mini California, so you know that I went through some rigorous shit, right? So the point that I'm making is I went through realtor school. I just didn't take their test because I didn't want to be restricted by their license. But the truth of the matter is the only thing they teach you in realtor school is how to write a purchase and sales agreement and how to keep the deposit money safe. Right?
Yep.
They don't teach you how to sell. They don't teach you how to talk to people. They don't teach you how to market. They don't teach you how to handle objections. They don't teach you the paperwork. Everything goes over to the attorneys or the closing agent. All they are, this is like being an affiliate commission person on the internet. Everybody talks about affiliate commissions, right? Well, that's what realtors are. So if a realtor can write a purchase and sales agreement with a seller and put it on the MLS, which was locked back then, it's not anymore, and sell a property and make 2.5% out of the 5% commission, why can't you do it? Why can't a plain old Joe that knows nothing about real estate do the same thing? And then do a deal or two like that and get used to the industry and go from there. Okay? I digress. So, all right, I did all that stuff. So, so basically, in 2020, when COVID hit, everything went sideways, as I just talked about. And who thrived? Who thrived are investors who knew how to turn uncertainty into opportunity. Right? They've learned how to talk to sellers in any market condition and turn initial resistance into eager cooperation. Those are the ones that are winning right now. Those are the ones that are crushing it, that study, like in my coaching groups, it's the ones that actually handwrite the scripts and study the scripts and understand the objections. Those are the ones that are crushing it. They aren't saying, "Oh, I know that, and I'll just do my own version of the script, or I'll just talk to people." Those aren't the people that are crushing it. Right? So, which I'm going to cover this today, right? But before we dive in, I just wanted to mention, if you need leads to practice these methods, here are 3 suggestions for getting them, because I'm talking about leads, deals, and cash, right?
Sure.
I'm not going to elaborate today a lot on leads because leads are not that difficult to get, especially if you do these 3 things. All right, so 1, you go to Facebook Marketplace, right? And just go to, on the left-hand side, it says for rent or for sale. I do for rent. And I just type in, would you be interested in renting for a year or 2 and then sell to me? I copy and paste it and do that 25 times a day. I don't even look at the properties. I don't do this anymore, but I have students that have done this. Because I have software that does all this for me now, right? So you copy and paste. By the end of the week, you'll be having a conversation with somebody. If you've ever rented a property before by a landlord, with a landlord, you already know how to do this, okay? All we're showing you, 90% of it. The other 10% is how to make money, which is pretty much sublease it to somebody else with a difference, right? So number 2, go to Zillow, put in your city, not an address, like I did, like I go in and I put in New Haven County. Then under the filters on the top of the page, scroll down, scroll across, so there's filters on the top of the page, right? You're going to find the filter that says, more. I think it's more.
Oh.
It's all the way to the right. So it does, is it for a house, what type of house you want, is it for sale, all that kind of, your price, all that kind of stuff.
How many beds and bathrooms, square footage.
All the way to the right, there's one that says more, and you could actually put in, if you scroll down, once you open the drop-down menu, you can actually put keywords in there like owner financing, seller financing, and you can actually scrape Zillow for those types of leads. And you'll find leads that are already motivated. You don't need to be a script expert. You go find, I did a video on it yesterday, and I found 3 properties that we should actually call, to be honest with you. And I mean, like, there's a house in Manchester that said, this house is being sold on a lease option. How hard is that? How hard is that, right? We should call that person.
I've never heard you say that before. I didn't know that you had the extra filters. But I know people do that. You know, they get to the point where they know about it and they want to do that deal. But you can find them there, huh? That's crazy.
So number 3, of course, head on over to Creative REI Reply, and we can sell you leads for as low as 16 cents a lead and let you use our software for free and work those leads for you for free. The software is for free. You're just buying the leads. So again, once you buy the leads as low as 16 cents a lead, we'll do all the work for you. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Obviously, in the beginning, you might want to take it slow. Then contact us when you want a consistent income and fire your boss and just retire early. So, I'm talking on this podcast and I talk to a lot of people. So there's all different levels of participation in creative real estate. So, I just kind of rattled off 3 easy ways to get leads without spending a lot of money, right? But maybe you're ready to dive in and have consistent income, and you want to step it up. So Creative REI Replay does that. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get down the business. Get down to some business here.
Yep.
And here we go. So here is your creative real estate leads to cash. Creative real estate leads to deals to cash formula. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Step 1, and I think I have 6 steps. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. So step 1. There's 4 steps. 4 steps. What am I thinking? 4 steps. What you need to do is you need to contact motivated sellers by having 2-way communication. Okay? The problem too many investors have, and I know this because, like I said, I've evaluated, I've done thousands of calls. I can't even tell you how many calls I've evaluated. But the problem is that most investors treat lead contact like a sales call instead of a human connection. They're texting, sending emails. They have all these automated tools. Now AI can make phone calls for you, all that stuff, right? We need to understand how people feel. How people feel. Mm-hmm. How people feel. Let me go. This has just got a bright idea. Let me go look up the word feel so we can.
Yeah, like I said, how do you feel about that?
Oh, wow.
It's going to have a few, isn't it?
No, I just saw it. Something came up, said a feel wheel. That's interesting. Okay, so feel, how somebody feels is their experience and emotion or sensation to what's going on. So how somebody feels about the deal is their emotion or their sensation of what you're doing for them, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just what they think. See, that's what the problem is you think that if you give them the numbers and you bully them with math, that they're going to be ready to go. Well, the problem is you're after the sensation, not what they think. You're after the emotions, not the thinkingness, right? Mm-hmm. One-way communication that sounds scripted and transactional. So one-way communication is texting, leaving voice messages, and thinking you're doing something, thinking you're communicating. Mm-hmm. When you're not getting the response back. The 2-way communication means I say hello to you, you say hello back, and we interact in exchanging our ideas and our feelings, right?
Sure.
And then the last problem is missing the fundamental truth that it's a human business that requires genuine interaction. I could tell you this, other than the President of the United States, there is no auto signing machines at closings.
No.
People have to show up and sign documents.
Yeah, I've never seen a machine where at the attorney's office. You're right, Bill.
Right?
Yeah, unless they have it hidden in some back office next to the copier. No. Nope.
You understand? Like I used to say all the time, like I've never seen a banker in one of my closings.
Ah.
I've never seen, people always talk about the house, the property, the location. Well, I've never seen a house. I've never seen a house show up at one of my closings.
No. How rude. No.
It's the person, right?
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we want to use, which we talked about in podcast 470, the anti-negotiation solution for these problems. Right? So what you want to do is transform the contact into a genuine two-way dialogue using these psychological principles. So you want to start with curiosity, not selling. Right? So here's what you would say. I saw your property and I'm curious about it and why you might want to sell it. Right? So you don't need a big fancy script. I have them and you can use them. And I have a lot of people in Creative REI Reply that I coach for that make a lot of money. I mean, I just had a coaching client I think she told it to us on the coaching call on Monday night. It's like I don't know, her 6th deal or something like that. She told me, I said to her, wow, you're really doing good. She said, yeah, I'm making more salary than ever, or she made one. Oh, I know what it was. I can't remember what she said. I made in one deal my year's salary. I'm like, wow. She goes, I'm like, well, that's good. I said, at least I can know that I made you enough money for a year. She goes, oh no, Bill, you've made me enough money for about 5 years. Okay, so she's in Texas. She got an option agreement, a slot deal, a sandwich lease option agreement with a seller for $800,000. Within weeks, she turned around and found a buyer that paid $880,000 on a rent to own for 3 years. The buyer gave her $30,000 on the same day that she looked at it. Gave her another $30,000 2 weeks later. Will move into the property, and the other $20,000 will be paid over the next 6 months. She made $80,000 on one deal and did it just like a realtor. She never owned it, never had to have special scripts. She didn't have anything. But she started with curiosity. I saw your property and I'm curious about it and why you might want to sell it. Right? The next one is, now we're doing anti-negotiating solutions, right? I'm going to stop telling my stories and try to move quicker here because we're halfway through and I'm got quite a bit to do. Use pattern interrupts. Right? Now, you've heard me do this so many times, and the first time I did it, we got in the car, and you were almost pale as a ghost, and you were freaking out, right? I'm not sure if I can help.
Yeah.
But I'd like to understand what you're trying to accomplish. I'm not sure if I can help. Now, I say, because I got my accent and all that stuff, I say, I don't think I'm your guy.
Yeah.
But what are you trying to do? Right?
Well, you're taking all the neediness out by doing that. And if the person wants to sell the house, they got to do a little work to talk to you instead of resisting and being defensive and trying to hold things away from you. They better start talking,
Right.
or else you're walking out the door.
Correct. The next one is create psychological safety. How do you create psychological safety? Here's how. You're under no obligation here. I just want to see if there's a fit. I'm not trying to buy your house right now. I'm just trying to gather all my information. I'm trying to do my discovery to see if we're even a match.
Yeah.
Right? And lastly, focus on them, not you. Ask about their situation before mentioning what you can do. Okay? So, how to implement this approach? Begin every conversation with general interest in their story. Use the 12 magic words that I spoke of on podcast number 470, which is, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? Right?
Yep.
Listen for emotional undertones, not just factual information. Right? Once they give you information, and I've said this for years, Peter, it's not the questions, right? It's the answers that matter, right? And then once they give you an answer, ask follow-up questions that show you're actually listening. Avoid industry jargon and speak in plain language that they understand. Don't give them a seminar, right? Create a comfortable space for them to talk by being comfortable with silence. You have to be comfortable with silence while they're thinking. And here's a big one, Peter, that I run into, especially with new guys. Oh my God, it actually irritates me, but I can't say that in public. Oops, I just did.
What?
Rapport building is not talking about the weather or their kids or what kind of dog they have. Rapport building is talking about the house.
Well, it should be about what the person's interested in.
Right.
And they're probably a little more interested in the house than what the temperature is outside or the cat.
Right. Okay, so step number 1 is to find and communicate to your motivated seller the way I just spoke about. Step number 2, which we have not been teaching. I have not been teaching this, and I told you this last week that I had this realization, and here it is, manifesting. Okay? Here's something that I skipped to talk about, but it happens on every single phone conversation, and I skipped it.
What's that?
Step 2. Handle and overcoming the no terms objection immediately, or abort terms and go straight to an all-cash deal with a 5% discount and an option agreement deal.
You saying start with that?
I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Step 2.
Yeah.
Step 2. So we have this conversation, all the things we just talked about.
Yeah.
Step 2, right? How much you asking for the house, we say. Okay, well, and the script is the only way I could do that is if I make monthly payments. Are you willing to talk about that?
Yeah.
And this is the part where you have to do the handle step.
Right.
So you need the handling and overcoming the no terms. No, I don't want to do terms. Objection immediately. So you need to handle it immediately before you go any further. Or abort the terms thing, which most don't do. Abort that they just don't want terms. Abort it.
Sure.
Don't try to keep convincing them. Just abort it. And then switch into, well, how about if we do an option agreement, much like what a realtor would do. If you give me a 5% discount, I can sign an option agreement, give me 90 days, and I'll go find a buyer. Right? And that works because if average price of a house is $400,000, that means they're going to give you an option agreement for $380,000. You go sell it for $385 and make $5,000. It's like wholesaling.
Yeah.
The new way. It's wholesaling 5.0, new generation. Right?
Yep.
So the problem that most investors run into is 97% of all 97% of all sellers initially reject creative terms because they don't understand the benefits. Right? Investors get discouraged and give up too quickly. using pressure tactics instead of education and empathy. They're trying to learn all the scripts and the sales tactics, thinking that a sentence or two is going to flip them around. And it's not true, because it's not what they're thinking, it's what they're feeling that makes a difference. Right? Right? And the investor's making it all about the deal structure rather than problem solving.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So the anti-negotiation solution is implement proper diagnosis before prescription. You got to diagnose. So if you went into a doctor and they say, we got to do open heart surgery, right?
Yep.
Are you, without even, he just sits down and he looks at what you tell him for your symptoms. Oh, we got to do open heart surgery. And there was no diagnostic procedure. Would you let him cut your chest open? No, that's exactly what a seller's going to feel like, right?
Sure.
So here's 5 ways that you can do this. Questions, right? If you were to sell with all cash, do you know how much you would actually net?
Right.
Or what your exact closing costs are? Right?
Exactly.
Number two, have you ever considered this house or the money you have tied up into this, in this house as an investment instead of a liability? Right? So investment means that you get money back. Liability means money comes out of your pocket and you don't get anything back, right?
Yep.
In other words, what if I could help you turn this around, turn this property around for you, and you start making or start getting money from it, right? Instead of it costing you money, without any landlord obligations.
Yes, that's important. That's important.
Or painful late night calls with trouble. Would you be interested in that?
Yeah.
Right? Number 3, this is important. This is important, and I know that not enough people ask this question. Who's told you in the past that taking monthly payments is bad?
Yeah, they probably sure. My aunt rented a house once, and they probably have some story that makes them a little nervous about just the whole idea. Like being the landlord, mostly, I think. What if they don't pay? Those kind of things. Right. But you can find that out if you talk to them. Ask them. Well, why not?
Exactly. Here's another one. Number 4. What about taking monthly payments to make up to 35% over market value is bad or risky for you in your mind? Right? And number 5, what if there was a way to get guaranteed payments without any of the typical landlord headaches? Would you be interested? You see, these are all psychological. These are not offers. It's educational based.
No, it has nothing to do with the money or the amounts of the cash. They have worries. They want, I don't want to have the hassle. And you're making them like $241,000 more if they hang on to it. So, but you have to help them with those worries. Because rich people don't care. Like, I don't care. I just don't want to have. So you have to really work on those guys.
So I probably shouldn't say this on a public airways, but I'm going to tell you anyways.
Yeah.
With our software,
Yeah.
we do demos because there's so much going on inside the software. It has to be demonstrated.
Yeah.
So people think. I dropped the demos down from a half hour of demonstrating, people going in there and showing them how to do everything. And my sales guys were instructed to not do more than 5 minutes of demonstration.
No kidding.
And sales tripled.
So how do you figure?
Because people get into the significance and all the details, and they're like, it's overwhelming, and they're like, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
When
they just want to know.
When they can.
Yeah.
They just want to know the results. They want to
exactly.
know. They want some proof that what you're telling them is actually true.
That's funny.
So when you do that,
that's funny. It's like the same thing with the sellers in reverse. It's like, what's their emotional feeling on this? They don't want to have to see all the details. Like, if you do this, this, and this, you'll make money. Like, okay, good. That's all they want to know.
Right.
They want to believe it, and they'll be okay.
Right.
Funny.
All right. So how to implement this approach? which is handling the handling step, to make sure that there aren't any objections in the way. Maybe they're ready to do terms. You know how you could skip the handling step then. Yeah, I'd be interested in talking about terms. I think you completely skip the handling step.
Sure.
But here's the most crucial part in a creative real estate conversation. It's qualifying, or the quality. What is the word? I just lost my train of thought. Quality assurance that the person is willing to talk about terms.
Right.
And we miss that because we call up and say, okay, so we start off with, hi, it's Bill Hawthorne. We've been texting one another about the house on 123 Main Street. You have a few minutes to talk about the house. Yep. Okay, good. Good. I have a couple questions for you. And I'm kind of ad hocing it now, but I have a couple questions for you. One question is, whose name is on the deed? You want to make sure you're talking to the right person. Okay, good.
Sure.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I skipped a step. So
There's the price.
No. So you say to them, you have a few minutes to talk. Yes. Okay, good. Is the house still for sale? They might have just sold it an hour ago.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then whose name is on the deed? Because you want to make sure you're talking to the right person. And then the next part is how much you're asking for. They give you the price, and you say, oh, okay. Now, some people ask, like, how did you come up with that number? Or how did you... That's okay, but it's not important. That's rapport building. But then the next thing is okay. Well, the only way that I think I can get you $549,000 for this house is if you were to take monthly payments until I could pay you off without any landlord obligations and as is conditioned on the date of your choice. Would you be willing to do that? So now you're dumped right into the handle step. No, I don't want to take payments. Okay, how come?
Yeah.
Right? And you start asking these questions. So, and one of the things we have in the script is, so you're saying that you're not willing to take 35% over market value by waiting a little bit? Well, I didn't say that. Right? And now you're right in. So sometimes that's all the handling step is. But if you don't handle it, your conversation stopped at that point. Your entire script doesn't work.
Sure.
Now watch this, Peter. Watch this, because this is kind of bringing everything together for the last 3 or 4 podcasts, right?
Sure.
This podcast is. So how to implement this approach. Number 1, you have to acknowledge their veto power. Now you say something like, you have complete control over how this works, right?
Yeah.
Right? Use the malpractice cures that I talked about in episode number 468, the 6 malpractice mistakes that every investor makes, right? You need to diagnose their real concerns before prescribing the solution.
Yep.
You need to, what we were just talking about with the software, you need to focus on benefits to them, not the mechanics of the creative financing. Your job is to do those mechanics once they say yes. And then say to them, here's the next 3 steps, and give it to them in bite-sized pieces. You don't have to explain the whole thing to them before they sign the documents. You just got to explain to them, well, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that first.
Yeah. Like the immediate future. The immediate steps coming up. That's enough.
For example, if you give me a 30-day option agreement, I'm going to bring your property to the market. I'm going to find out what the market says. In other words, I'm going to find out what buyers are willing to open their wallets for and pay us. I'm going to have the buyer pay me my profit. You're not paying it. The buyer's paying it. So it costs you nothing for me to do this.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to find out what they're willing to do, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to say to you, okay, Mr. Seller, here's what I got. But before I do that, I need parameters, like what's your lowest number on your price and your lowest number on your payment and the lowest term that you'll take. And then I'm not going to go get that. I'm just going to know that's where I got to stop. I'm going to start higher on all of that.
Sure.
But I need to know where I have to stop. Where's the stop point for you, right?
Mm-hmm. Or what's the acceptable point for them?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you get a good deal, they should just do it. If they're, instead of waiting around and not getting a deal and it's the best deal, take it.
Right. Which means that Jim Camp's book, he says that vision is decision. So you're creating a vision of success on the outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that by saying, imagine if you could.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could get a check in your mailbox like an ATM machine every single day. I'm sorry, every single month. And never have any headaches with this property. And it's making you 35% more than market value over the course of 3 months. 3 years. 36 months. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Address the psychological of risk versus certainty rather than just financial terms. Right? So address the psychological, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Address the psychology of risk versus certainty rather than just financial terms.
Mm-hmm.
Position creative terms as safer and more reliable than traditional sales. How many times have I told you the best deal that you could do is a subject to deal? The safest deal that a seller can do is a subject to deal when you take over their mortgage. You get the deed in your name and the mortgage stays in your name, stays in their name, and you pay the mortgage for them. That is the safest deal on the market. The safest. You hear me talk about that all the time.
Sure.
Moving on to step number 3. Now, we've contacted the person, and we handled anything they don't want to do. We've handled those objections. We've done the handle steps. So now we can start digging in, right? Number 3, find the pain or situation for selling by discovering if they are running from a problem or to a new goal. I've never talked about it this way before. This is new. This is the need and greed concept. So are they running away from a problem or are they running to a new goal?
That's interesting. Yeah.
You got to know that, right? So
yeah.
Here's what investors run into for a problem. Not understanding whether sellers need relief from pain or want to cash in equity for an opportunity.
It's funny. It hits me like this. That's pain, and the other side is pleasure. But that's life. Trying to avoid pain and trying to get pleasure out of life. That's interesting. Yep. The house, because I've seen those with you. Like, oh, this house is such a pain. Please take it. I got a couple of those right now. Oh my God, take this, please.
Yeah. Yeah, you got one property they're trying to give to you for free, right?
Yeah, he said, please, I'll give it to you. I'll give you a quick claim. Here, just take it, please. Oh, Lord.
Okay, so missing critical distinction between problem-driven versus goal-driven sellers is a huge mistake. And I don't think it's ever been categorized as simple as I'm giving it to you today.
No, that's pretty succinct. That's pretty good.
Right? So problem-driven or goal-driven, right? Failing to identify if the property is a burden or a savings account they want to access, right? And not assessing their not assessing their timeline to gauge true motivation levels. We stopped doing that. Ron LeGrand taught that to me a long time ago.
What? The time?
When we used to put signs out and had Pat Live answer the calls for us. And fax me the leads every day. One of the questions is, when did you want to move by?
Yeah.
We stopped doing that. All right, so the anti-negotiating solutions are uncover their primary motivation using these diagnostic questions. And this is yours that I've changed a little bit. What's more important to you, getting your money out of this property quickly or maximizing your profit over time? All right, but you say that different. How do you say it?
What's more important to you, getting your asking price or making more profit?
Right.
It's close enough. Well, they hear more profit. They go, oh, more profit? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
But it gets you in the conversation. That's the point.
Yep. The next one is this property currently costing you money or stress, or is it more like a savings account you want to cash in?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Another one is, when do you want to move by? Or what is your ideal closing date if they're not living in it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then, once they say that, so you say, when do you want to move by?
Yeah.
And they give you a date. June 30th.
Mm-hmm.
You say this. Why that date? Not
You know,
enough
that's
people do
interesting.
that.
No,
Not
you know,
enough people do that.
it's funny. Like, what time is the movie? 2:00. Thank you. It's over. But there's more information. These aren't just what answers, and I have to get more used to that too. Like, oh, really? What's happening then? Where are you going? What do you? And I'll do that because I'm curious most of the time. Like, where are you going? Right. Oh, blah blah blah. Oh, really? Tell me about that. What's that? But then you find out enough story that you could actually do something to help them.
Right. It reveals the driving force behind their timeline.
Yeah, and what happens if you don't sell by then?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So, what is your ideal closing date? Oh, it's June 30th. Oh, why then? Oh, I got a loan due.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that. Right.
Something.
Right, so the next one is, what would you do with the money if you could access your equity today?
Mm-hmm.
That reveals their goals, right? Oh, I'm buying a new house and I need a down payment. Okay, how much do you need for a down payment?
Exactly.
The other thing too is, if somebody won't, because a lot of times we used to ask the question, like, a lot of times we do something with the financing. You have a mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm.
How
Yep,
much
I
is
do.
it? Right?
Yeah,
yep. And they won't tell you the mortgage amount, right? So
Oh.
the other way to do that is to say, okay, so you're asking $400,000 for the property. How much were you expecting to walk away with at the closing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was expecting to walk away with like 30 grand. Oh, okay, so you owe around 450 because you got to put the closing cost in there, right?
Right.
So, and you would just kind of poke around with it, right?
Yeah, reverse math.
Yeah. So with slot deals and stuff like that, we don't need to know that because we're just doing rents. But
Yeah.
if you're doing like subject to deals and and owner finance and all those kind of deals, you're gonna want to know that stuff, right?
Anytime you need to know what the equity is for the deal.
Right. So here's two more questions. What's been the most challenging part of owning this property? That reveals the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one is my favorite. If you could wave a magic wand, would you rather have this property problem solved immediately, or would you rather maximize every dollar from it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't ask it that clearly. I ask is, if you had a magic wand and waved it over this deal, what would you want the most?
Mm-hmm.
But the question I just gave you is more explicit. All right, so how to implement this approach? Listen for language that reveals their pain relief or goal achievement. Pain-driven sellers use words like frustrated, tired, burden, headache, stress, I don't want to anymore, those types of things, right?
Yeah.
Goal-driven sellers use words like opportunity, invest, upgrade, purchase, dream, I always wanted to, this is our new life,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff, right?
To travel.
Yeah, to travel, yeah. Timeline responses reveal motivation level.
Mm.
This is common sense, but I'm going to say it anyways. ASAP, or they need to do it yesterday, obviously is high urgency. When somebody says that, you shut off every phone, every computer, every social media, and this person becomes your 100% focus until you get the deal done.
Mm-hmm.
So if they say within 30 to 60 days, right, they're moderately motivated.
Does that necessarily mean they want a cash deal or they could still do terms? Could it be either way still?
It doesn't matter, yeah. So when they say ASAP, they have high pain or high urgency to get that money.
Right. And it doesn't mean it has to be cash. It could be a great terms deal. It could still work for them. But
If they say they want to do it right away, they are motivated either by need or by greed.
Good.
Right?
Good.
So if they say within 30 to 60 days, they're moderate motivation with specific triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if they say sometime this year, that's low urgency. We don't likely goal driven, right? We don't spend enough time in the process like salespeople do, like it's hot, warm, or cold.
Oh.
We don't label our deals that way, and that's what I'm telling you right now is hot, warm, or cold.
Okay.
Right. So adjust your approach based on their primary driver. Right. Pain driven, focus on relief, speed, and removing the burden. Goal driven, focus on maximizing returns and achieving their objective. So if you had somebody that was pain driven, Peter, would you want to do the Grand Slam offer script with them?
I don't. Well, I just asked if it could be cash short term. You said it could be either one.
Okay, so my question is, if it was pain driven,
Yeah.
would you do the Grand Slam offer deal on them?
I think I would try to find out what the pain is first to see what they need. I mean, I could try it, but I'd have to be ready to shift gears pretty quick.
Okay, so
I think I need to know why.
No, you don't. The answer is no.
Uh-huh.
Because the Grand Slam offer shows them how they can make 35% over market value.
Mm-hmm.
Pain driven, just based on what I said, focus on relief, speed, and removing the burden.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's pain driven, you don't need to do the Grand Slam script. Actually, you stop every script and say, okay, now that you know what the pain is, because we covered that in the other questions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, here's what we got to do to close. But if it's goal driven, you focus on maximizing returns and achieving their next objective. The goal driven people that want all cash, that are 97% of the people, you need to show them, well, you know what? If you slow down a little bit, I can save you 12 or 15% in closing costs, and I could make you cash flow. I can make you principal reduction payments. I can get you appreciation and depreciation, and all that adds up to about 35% over market value. Is that worth it for you? So on a $300,000 house, you're getting them $400,000. On a $400,000 house, you're getting them $550,000.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it depends on where this is and what script you're going to use.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So position yourself as the solution to either pain relief or goal achievement. Right? So if it's pain relief, position yourself as the doctor that's going to give them their diagnosis and prescription. If it's goal relief, then you're going to position yourself as their financial advisor and say, here's what we should do.
Aha.
Right? Help them articulate exactly what success looks like in their specific solution.
Mm. Like paint the picture so they can visualize it.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so we got to move along here because we only got 4 minutes left. So step 4, bring them to understanding how you can help by simplifying deal structuring. Right? So the problem is investors get overwhelmed by details instead of focusing on simple concepts. So they get into the weeds on how everything works instead of just saying, well, this, and just paint the concept, not the details.
Yeah.
Overcomplicating what is essentially a consignment business model. Okay? I could do a whole podcast on this, and maybe I will. Overcomplicating what is essentially a consignment business model. Right? Not understanding that the buyer pays everyone in the deal. Most investors don't think of that. They're missing the power of getting properties under control like realtors do with listings.
Mm-hmm.
A realtor gets a listing agreement and then puts it on the MLS and then sits back and waits. They don't need to have a whole bunch of deal structuring and details of how the property is going to sell. They don't care. They just get the listing agreement and then just go advertise it. And then the buyers who are going to fund you, fund the deal, fund the seller, fund everybody, will come flocking to it like bees to honey. Because if you don't have inventory and you're not showing off your properties, you don't have a business. You got a hobby. You have to have properties on the market, and if you're spending too much time trying to figure out how to talk to the sellers, you're going to go decades without making money. minimally years without making money because you're not focusing on where the money is. I can tell you right now, like it or leave it, Mr. Donald Trump, who is president right now, like him or hate him, I don't care. The only reason why that man is the way he is and changing our country is for one reason and only one reason. The only core strength he has is he follows the money. All these peace deals, all these taking down the Democrats and all this, it's all about the money. Right? Follow the money. So when we follow the money in real estate, we realize that the buyer pays for everything. So the buyer gets the emphasis. I can't tell you how many coaching classes I've been in and how long I've been coaching, and we never, ever, 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 never, ever, never, ever, ever, ever talk about selling a house. All we talk about is what we should say to the seller. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you want to go to the best seminar ever on how to talk to sellers, talk to buyers first.
Oh, right.
Missing the power of getting properties under control like realtors do with listings. Newbie investors sound like they're giving a seminar instead of having a conversation because they have no idea what the seller wants or what the seller says. I'm sorry, what the buyer wants and what the buyer says.
Okay.
I said that backwards. Overwhelming sellers with complicated explanations that sound confusing, and a confused mind says no. Complexity kills deals. You need to not explain the details, just explain the concepts, and the details will come in the paperwork, and as you go, you kind of drip on them a little bit at a time. Right? The anti-negotiating solution here is to teach simple concepts like money now, money monthly, money later. Now, Peter, I wish we weren't at the hour and I could have another 20 minutes with this, but I'm not, so I'm going to just spew it out. Here's what we never, ever, 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 ever talk about. We're 471 podcasts. I've never said this on a podcast.
No way. Come on.
I swear to God.
All right. Hit me. What?
We need to. You had this conversation. You had this realization some time ago, a year or two ago, right? That everything you do with the seller, you do with the buyer. Right. So if you know, right, you just reverse it, right? Well, that's what we're going to do with money now, money monthly, money later. You need to reverse it. Reverse the formula and find out from the buyer what they'll do. Then you can make the perfect deal with your seller. So you want to know money now, what the buyer can actually put down immediately. Right? So those questions would be, what kind of down payment are you comfortable with? I'm going to tell you right now, I did 2 questions, the snowflake way, the easy, the soft way, for those people that can't confront, and I'm picking on those people, and I'm sorry if you feel like I'm bullying you right now. The fact, if you think I'm bullying you right now, you know I'm talking to you. Okay? So the first 2 questions are that way, and then the third question is the way I would do it.
Okay.
Okay, and I did it on all of them. So the first question is, what kind of down payment are you comfortable with? That'll get an answer, but it's not hardcore. How much cash do you have available to get started? They will always lie to you on those both questions.
Yes.
Number 3, which is the way I prefer to do it, what's the most you could put down if this was the perfect house for you? And then when they give you a number, say, that's not enough.
Automatically. I like that about you. You always just figure they're going to do that and just like,
We need, if they say, well, I could put down 10 grand. Well, I really need 15 grand. Is there a way you can get that? And 98% of the time, they do.
Yep.
Money monthly. What the buyer can afford in payments. 3 questions again. Same way. First 2, third one, right?
Yeah.
What monthly payment fits comfortably in your budget? Second question, what are you paying in rent now, right now? What are you paying right now, right? What would be comfortable for a similar payment to own? So I'm paying $1,500 for rent. Okay, well, how much do you think you should spend per month to own?
Yeah.
Right? Then my question, what's the maximum monthly payment you'd want to take on? Right, so what's the most you could pay if you're going to own this house?
Yeah.
Right? Money later, what the buyer will pay as a total purchase price. Now, what happens here is kind of funny because we never ask these questions. Because whatever we're advertising the price of the house for, if you have the money right now to close within 30 days, you can negotiate with me. If you don't have the money, here's the price. End of story.
Yeah.
Right? But if you wanna mess around with it, you could say what price range were you shopping in? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most you'd want to invest in the right property? Or you can say, if you found your dream house, which is the one I like, what's the top of your budget?
You know, your questions are so much better because I can see it a mile away. It's a vision question. It's not just a number question. If you found your dream house,
Right.
what are you willing to do?
What's the top of your
Yeah,
budget?
I'm just, but that's what it is. You know, but that's what's your top of your budget. So
You need to reverse engineer offers based on buyers' feedback, not the seller demands. If anybody gets this concept, creative real estate is a lay down.
Yeah.
No seminars, no books, no training. Just do some rent to owns and do what I'm telling you here, and you'll recognize that the whole world is doing it backwards. And I'm the only one talking like this that I know of. Right?
Well, you hit this, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 years ago, swear to God, but us newer guys back then especially would be worried about talking to sellers because we just didn't know what's going on because we didn't know what the buyer was willing to do. Right. And you started this whole thing, well, let's see what they're going to be willing to do. If you knew that, you wouldn't be worried about buying it. So you have to know that so you feel comfortable with what you're doing, not be so nervous Nelly.
Well, my analogy is if you're selling pencils, it's not hard to do when you know how much it costs to have a pencil. So if you're selling a pencil for $1 and you know you could buy it for 50 cents, then what are you worried about?
Exactly. But you have to know that. So that was a game changer for all those guys. They said, we don't know how the numbers are. Well, you find out from the buyer.
Right.
Big
now,
deal.
I'm gonna be very selective on how I say this. I'm gonna be a little blunt with it, but just realize it. The realtors are gonna hate this, right? Position yourself like a realtor when listing with a listing agreement. Control without ownership. So you're not going to talk about your fees because realtors don't like that, and they say you have to have a license to have a fee, and they are correct. If you're selling a property that you don't own or don't have an equity share in it, then you do have to have a license to be a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sign an option agreement, you automatically get an equity share. It's a very minute equity share, but you become a partner in the property. Realtors, for some reason, haven't figured that out. So by virtue of signing an option agreement with someone and giving them $1 to $100 for consideration, non-refundable consideration deposit, you become part owner. And by becoming part owner, you don't need to have a license to sell this property. But you have to act like the realtor would because that's what they're used to hearing. They're used to getting the listing agreement. Instead of getting a listing agreement, you're getting an option agreement. Okay? Focus on the outcome they want, not the mechanics of how to do it. Avoid seminar mode, right? Speaking conversationally, not teaching a class. Keep it simple. Here's how it works in simple terms, you would say. Then stop talking to them and ask questions, right? So you've heard me say this all the time. Here's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say blah, 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 right? Use the consignment analogy. Just like a realtor, list your house for free. I can control it and find the right buyer and get the buyer to pay the commission to me, not you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We don't use the word commission usually, but we can get the buyer to pay me, not you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the outcome, not the mechanics. Right? You get what you need. The buyer gets the house. I facilitate the transaction. Those are amazing words.
Mm.
You get what you need. The buyer gets the house. I facilitate the transaction.
Well, that's pretty concise.
Yeah. Right? Present it as a market driven. I'm not making up these numbers. The market or the buyer determines how that works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Emphasize no risk nature. You keep control until you find the right buyer and at terms that work for you. Right? So you're talking to a seller. You're telling them they keep control until the terms work for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do a deal. So you're giving them their veto power, right?
Yeah.
Stop explaining when you see confusion, right? If they look lost, pause and say, does that make sense to you so far? Right? If they're being silent and they're not participating in the two-way conversation, assume they're confused.
Yeah.
Right? Remember, concepts first, details never. Unless they specifically ask for a detail, then you give it to them. The paperwork and the concepts of the details will be there. Right?
Yep.
So, the integrated framework that I'm talking about today is 1, contact with genuine curiosity and two-way communication. 2, handle any terms objections through diagnosis and empathy, not pressure. Number 3, find the pain or situation by understanding their psychological exhaustion and what they have decided, what their next chapter in life is. And you're going to help them get there. Number 4, bring them to understanding with your offer by simplifying the concepts and letting buyers determine the structure. Right? So you should practice each step separately and then combine them. You should record your conversations and identify your patterns, right? Focus on becoming a consultant, not a deal closer or deal chaser. Remember, the buyer pays everyone. Your job is to facilitate it, not finance it. Right? Master the concept before worrying about the details. Create systems that work like realtors the listing process, because they're familiar with that already, right? The big revelation, the truth about creative real estate is it's not about being the smartest person in the room with complex strategies. It's about being the most helpful person who understands human psychology. The buyer has the money. Your job is to connect their money with the seller's need. Simplicity beats complexity every time when explaining concepts to sellers. So to end off, the formula for success is when you master leads, deals to cash, you transform from a deal hunter to a deal facilitator. You create win-win scenarios with scenarios. Seller gets relief, buyer gets property, you get paid. You build a substantial business model based on understanding people, not manipulating them. And you become the consultant sellers turn to when they need creative solutions. I covered way too much today. Should have been 2 podcasts, but how you doing, Peter? You all right?
It's good, yeah.
Are you spinning?
No, it's fine. It flows from, if this is the first podcast I ever heard, maybe, but I've been following along each one of them personally. Yeah. So as long as people have been listening to the other ones, it all fits in beautifully.
Right.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good. So thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you for your attention. And just remember, if you go over to Amazon, Amazon.com, and type in William Hawthorne, Hawthorn, the entire blue book, the entire blueprint is in my book, Leads, Deals, Cash, Creative Real Estate Operating Manual. So if you want more information about today, then grab the book, because it's all in there. I have a workbook, which I'm going to be releasing soon. I'm definitely going to do it this week. And the other thing is I will be writing a new book on how to negotiate creative real estate deals. And that will be out sometime in the next couple months. Mm-hmm. All right? So thank you. Like us, subscribe to us. Make sure you pay attention to when we're on the air. And over and out, flourish and prosper. We will talk to you on episode number 472. Good day.
This has been Flipping Houses for Rookies. The American Dream. What is it? It's called financial freedom. And with real estate, you'll have it. Without the banks, without the bigwigs, and without the realtors' nonsense. Bill and Pete are two real estate investors with 30 years plus of experience, hundreds of deals under their belts, and a mission to change the way you think about creative real estate. Do be sure to like, rate, and review the show. And after that, hit up our YouTube channel at Flipping Houses for Rookies /streams. We'll be back soon, and see you then on Flipping Houses for Rookies.